Okay, so my assessment of Spider-Man, he's pretty good, and the people are trying to be divisive, and the people that are being divisive are the people who don't even have a PlayStation 4 to begin with, because they're on Xbox, or they don't play Avengers on a PlayStation 4. Maybe they have a PlayStation 4, but they chose to buy Avengers on Xbox One or Xbox One X or Xbox Series X, and they invested all the time in the game, and now they're not getting Spider-Man. I didn't even know Spider-Man was coming out for this game until after I bought it. So, you know, whatever. Okay, but here's the deal. Spider-Man, he's very similar to this Spider-Man in this game. Is very similar to the Insomniac Spider-Man. It's like they made a deal with Sony, and Sony maybe gave them some of the assets from their Spider-Man to make this Spider-Man. Because his head looks about almost the same. He has kind of a large size head. And a lot of his moves are similar. Even he has a built-in web swing when he does like 3 light hits into a, you know, he gets about 3 or 4 light hits into a heavy attack. Then he does a web swing kick, just like he does in Insomniac's one. The web shooting, as much as those idiots, you know, the Xbox idiots anyway, they made fun of the web shooting when he's ranged web shooting. He does the same thing in Insomniac. I just went back and played it. Only difference is Insomniac has auto aim because it's third person. It's completely third person, so it's auto aim when he shoots his webs to stick somebody at ranged webbing or whatever, at offensive webbing. And when this guy does it in Marvel's Avengers game, it's more of an over-the-shoulder first-person shooting type. It's third-person shooting, but it's over-the-shoulder shooting. So it looks weird. It's a weird perspective. Now, this game is more fun. I played the other Spider-Man game. I played up to a point, you know. I played up to 33% to the game, and I got bored of it. Because there's so many enemies where you can't even beat. You know, you can't beat without gimmicks. And it didn't seem right, because Spider-Man shouldn't need gimmicks to beat an enemy. Especially not just an overweight, you know, thug. This guy, Spider-Man, is taking out Exos with takedowns without problems, which is by his bare hands and his webs alone. So it's kind of a, you know, a superior gameplay on this game. How similar they are, because they are very similar. Even the takedowns is kind of similar. Some of the moves are similar. Only difference is, say, Insomniac Spider-Man is more about using stuff in the environment and throwing it at people with your webs. This version of Spider-Man does a web rodeo, but he web rodeos people, okay? A webbed enemy he can just grab and swing in a tornado and throw him into a wall and stick him to the wall. Like this enemy, well, Black Panther is tearing him apart right now, I can't do it. And yeah, the web swing is very good. He runs up the wall a lot like he does in the other Insomniac Spider-Man. The only thing he can do that he can't do that the other one can do in Insomniac Spider-Man is Insomniac Spider-Man can web stick directly to the ceiling and hang from the ceiling or stick to the ceiling. This one can't do that, and he can't climb on the ceiling either. Apparently, they just didn't think that was important. But other than that, the combat, as far as the combat goes, is very, very similar. Jump is, jump. X is jump. Circle is evade. And, triangle is ostensibly is heavy attack, but it's really just a web attack. And that's the same thing in this game. So in this game, he plays kind of like the Insomniac Spider-Man, but he also plays like Tony Stark in this game. Iron Man in this game is like X is light attack, and triangle is heavy attack, but heavy attack is ranged attack. So, Iron Man his light attacks are melee, and his heavy attack is the repulsors or whatever ranged weapon he has equipped. So he's like that. It's very good. I mean, also I had more fun playing this than I've been playing Insomniac Spider-Man. Some of the combos are better. The parries are better. There's more evade attacks or more of a thing here. Also, he doesn't have a parry per se, but he uses intrinsic to dodge. So like when you're about to get attacked and your intrinsic meter is full or halfway full, you can dodge. You see your spider sense over your head, and when you press the right trigger, he'll just dodge. He'll jump out of the way. So he doesn't parry. He completely jumps out of the way and he completely dodges it. But sometimes he ducks. It depends on his positioning, what the attack's coming at him. But yeah, so he has a parry, and that's something that you don't have in Insomniac Spider-Man. Also, the ability to take down any enemy at any time. Insomniac Spider-Man has a kind of a throw. It's like you jump into the person and kick them with your feet. Kick off with them with your feet, so it's a semi throw, but it's more like a kick attack. Anyway, I give the thumbs up to this game. This game takes the Pepsi challenge for Spider-Man. This is better Spider-Man game easily. And also, as far as that guy Simon Cardy, that IGN hack, he claimed that there's a low flight ceiling for this game. They actually raised the flight ceiling for the game. Because I've been playing this, right? And I've been playing this game for over a year and like 44 months, right? A year and 4 months. And originally, Captain America obviously can't fly, but Iron Man and Thor could not fly as high as Spider-Man can swing. Spider-Man can swing higher than originally Iron Man and Thor could fly. Because I'm like, usually Thor can fly at the height of the trees, right? And Iron Man can fly at the height of the trees. I was just doing the vault missions, and Spider-Man can swing over the trees. He's clearly higher over the trees than Iron Man ever was. To such a degree that if you have, like, say, 4 Spider-Mans on your strike team, it kind of causes a RAM problem, I think. Like an internet problem. It's eating up RAM and internet resources because a bug has been coming up that eventually you can't pick up your heroic orbs, and you can't pick up your intrinsic orbs. It's like a RAM problem because eventually the game crashes. The game crashed early on, first day one, and when I reloaded, then I could pick up my intrinsic orbs again in War Table. And I think it had to do with, having 4 Spider-Mans on deck on the strike team, because I played the game earlier and I ran into that problem again after a few hours, where I couldn't pick up intrinsic orbs anymore, right? And then as soon as the strike team left, because they were a bunch of scrubs, right? Scrub Spider-Man, I could pick up intrinsic orbs after they left. So I was playing the Monica mission, the beating on the odds Cosmic Cube mission. And as soon as those players left, I could pick up intrinsic orbs again. And the fact that I couldn't pick up intrinsic orbs or heroic orbs earlier was making it harder to beat that mission. So anyway, they got frustrated and left because they were, were scrubs. And I beat it fine on my own. It's kind of like if there's 4 Spider-Mans on the strike team, it causes a lag. Anyway, this Spider-Man is clearly better, although very similar. I'll give them this. It is kind of similar to the Insomniac one. So much as they are, they're different games, so it's unfair to compare the gameplay or whatever, or how high Spider-Man can explore, because it's not really an exploration game. But the combat itself is very similar in this game to the other ones. Eerily similar, to such a degree that I think maybe Sony helped them make this game. They helped them implement Spider-Man maybe. That. I like that web now. He's trying to hit me in the back. So anyway, as far as when I'm running this, like Last Avengers Standing, I'll use intrinsic orbs on takedowns, but when I switch to the raid, I'm changing it to drop heroic orbs on takedowns, so it helps out my team to be more of a team player. They missed bastard. That brought him down. Shove them to the wall. Sit down, clown. Oh, not Black Panther attack him. That's a coordinated attack. Yeah, so I was a little worried because at first I didn't see the parry in this game. I was trying to parry and Spider-Man couldn't parry. He definitely, well, anyway, but my timing was wrong, or maybe my intrinsic meter was not full. That's why I couldn't parry, because he doesn't really parry. His spider sense comes up and he jumps. Also, you got to understand that you're playing this game with these analog controls. The analog controls don't work well. Analog controls don't really work well, but digital games. So sometimes there's a delay when you pull the trigger and when the parry actually kicks in. I found that problem with the buttons also. When I was doing the raid, and sometimes you're trying to evade an attack incoming, not trying to get down, and you get hit because the buttons don't respond that quickly because they're analog. Even the face buttons are analog, which is not good for a game when you want to have split-second reactions. So that was why I was having trouble doing the parry at first, but it's not actually a parry, it's a dodge that his spider sense uses. And it relies on his intrinsic meter. Anyway, he's nasty. Obviously, he has a web spread. The web spread is more for less knocking people back, and obviously getting the web factor on them. And also, you can have different status effects attached to these. Web tether is kind of the best one because it tethers people to the wall, or it tethers enemies to each other. And web blast is just a heavier web blast, a web shot that just makes them proc web faster. And it's possible in this game, as like Black Panther had these gloves called the gloves of Bast or whatever, and they had one effect, one status effect on one attack, and another different status effect on another attack on the same glove. So Spider-Man has that too. So his melee attacks can have two different status effects on it, and so can his ranged attack. So they changed the gear. So gear is basically it's gear at 1.5 if it's not gear 2.0 at this point. And it really kind of is gear 2.0 because now you can upgrade your gear. There's gear upgrades now. Infusing, transmog, which works out really well. So, it's the lucky thing you can use like Captain America's gear to infuse Spider-Man's gear, or you'd be able to level up Spider-Man way faster. So they thought of that, but that's not possible.